dreaming a new horizon and a day it all came true. Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, oh home sweet home, home sweet home.
Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and Friends. Here's your host, Russ McClellan.
Hey, good morning to everyone in the land of COVID. Wow. Seems like I say that every show. But I'll tell you what, it's one of those times of the year where thinking about positive things might be more important than thinking about negative things. And it's real easy for every one of us after 9+ months to focus on the darkness in the tunnel and not the light. Because, sometimes that darkness on both sides of us as we're going down that adversity tunnel is awfully prevalent. But if we concentrate and we look straight ahead and not look to the sides or backwards, sometimes we'll see a light. And that light, what I call is hope, confidence, gratitude, sincerity, integrity, honesty. All of these things that we all have as people, or at least we all hope we strive to have. And sometimes life is full of 3 steps forward, 2 steps, sometimes 2.75 steps backwards. Perhaps 2020 was that. But I want to tell you, I really think there's a tremendous amount of incredible people in our valley in north central Washington and around our state, around the Northwest, and around the world, and around the United States of America. And regardless of a lot of things in this land of COVID, I think it's important to remember that together, we'll get through it, care about each other, show some grace, slow down a little bit, check down on the reactionary mode, and maybe fall into more strategic mode, realizing that hope is coming and that things will work out. Tough times do not last. Tough people do. All right, there's my sermon. Now we're going to get into some fun stuff called real estate. And I'm excited to introduce two of my great friends that real estate brought to me. And I've got them on the line, I believe. Brooke Fritz and Bella Fritz. Good morning.
Good morning, Russ.
Good morning, Russ.
Hey, man, you know what's fun is every time I got to share this with you, Bella. If you don't see, you probably do see from the Zoom calls and stuff, but no matter where Brooke Fritz is at, and Brooke's a real estate broker with us at Keller Williams, North Central Washington. He's been with us just over a little over a year. And no matter where I've ever met Brooke, from the moment I met him and Bella to today, I would describe you as, in one word, enthusiastic about life. You're just not a negative. You guys are just not negative people, right? And I thought about you this year because, man, if there's a year that there's some downers happening for small businesses, for people, for families, it's maybe this year, but it's also a time for gratitude and enthusiasm to fuel our lives with that positivity. So thank you for joining me this morning. How y'all feeling?
Oh, we're doing great. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words too. We're all pushing on the same side of the box here, Russ, in terms of both Bella and I have the philosophy of we have choices every day. With the moment we wake up, and our attitude is so important. And, sure, everyone's entitled to a bad day or a grumpy mood or whatever, but predominantly we try to be the light in anyone's life, for each other, for our clients, for strangers. The simplest act, a smile, a nod, good morning to a complete stranger. You have no idea what kind of life they're going through at that moment. Doesn't matter. We always just strive to be something positive in their life. It's just kind of how we live, and we do our best, but not always successful. But that may come across as enthusiasm, but I'd rather choose to be a light, a positive part in someone's life. If that means helping a fellow colleague in real estate, finding an answer that they don't know. And if I don't know it, we'll find it together kind of thing. And you've promoted that within our office, that mindset of abundance. I love that phrase. It so resonates with both of us.
Yeah, well, what I'd like to do today is this, and I appreciate those kind words as well, man. Here's the deal. I'd like to do two things, and we've got 3 segments. They're about 10, 11 minutes each that we can talk with each other and everyone out there in the land of COVID is just going to be listening in to our conversation. And so I want to accomplish 2 things. One, I want to introduce you guys to our community, and so they can get to know you just a little bit as I know you. And the second thing I want to do is promote your real estate business, because you're a perfect inspirational example of someone that wasn't 20 years old when they got into real estate. In fact, had completely different careers. And Bella has a photography business, so obviously that's been affected through this last 7, 8, 9 months. And I thought, one of my missions, as I share all the time, is to transform lives, to get people the opportunity to live that life they deserve and they want, using real estate as the vehicle to do it. And that's been kind of my main goal as the operating partner and designated broker of Keller Williams Realty here in North Central Washington, but also just, in my life. That's where I focus on abundance so much, like you mentioned, versus that scarcity mindset, which is jealousy and envy. And for me to win, you got to lose mentality. And I just don't believe in that. So could we start by just talking a little bit about who you guys are and specifically, how do you guys stay so happy together? It's awesome. Does he not ever put his dirty laundry on the couch or anything, Bella? Like, what? This guy's got to have some chinks in his armor somewhere. So help
you
help
don't
us
know
out.
the half of it. I do plenty to aggravate my wife, but she's very, very forgiving and graceful. There's you mentioned having more grace in this time of COVID and so forth. Absolutely. We all need to try, because, it's impacted everybody in every facet. But, getting back to, our background, where we started, Bella's been a photographer professionally for 11 years, primarily weddings. And needless to say, with COVID, we had 2020 solidly booked. I shoot second for her, so I help her with the, back office, director of operations. I'm the communication side of the company. She's really the visual creative. And so we work very well together. So, long story short, 2020, after our first wedding was February 20th, and that was our last wedding. It never would have seen that coming. And, it was a scramble for one to revisit our contracts to make sure that we had the proper language in there that would handle something like a pandemic. That never been a part of our vocabulary, until then. So we had to, take a revisit to our contract. Thank goodness we had hired, a photography attorney and had great contracts. Didn't have to make any changes there, but we had to deal with the emotions of brides whose dreams were crushed overnight. And we wound up, fortunately, rescheduling most into 2020, but some couldn't. They absolutely had to get married. Husbands heading off to the military, things like that, other issues. So it was emotionally taxing to be normally part of the happiest day of people's lives. And now we're dealing with, brides crying or parents crying and so forth. And
working harder trying to mend it.
Yeah. So that, but Bella and I are a team, and so we would deal with that on the emotional side. And we're very grateful that, in hard times, the photography was our bread and butter, because it kind of segued to my background. I came from a technology background, Russ. So I was in telecommunications, hardware, and software sales. That landscape has changed dramatically, and I'm talking even pre-COVID. Once you hit a certain age, you're considered not valuable, but expendable. Ageism is very real in the software industry. And, I'm not going to go down a political road or a soapbox, but I was the recipient of mergers, acquisitions, and downsizing more than a few times. And, meanwhile, in the background, Bella and I also are investors. We really have always believed in real estate. We dabbled in the stock market, got burned in the .com, .gone era. And so we really focused our portfolio on buildings, on land, on real estate. Because Bella is such a great visual creative, she also has designed every remodel we've ever done. And fortunately, I have a construction background, so she'd design it, I would build it, tear it down, remodel, whatever. And so, we're pre-Chip and Joanna Gaines. I'm not giving ourselves a plug, but I feel so blessed and grateful to recognize and appreciate her skills, because they're not mine. But she also inversely does the same. She's like, honey, can you build X? Can you tear that down? Is that load bearing? And we work it out together. So we've done a lot of personal investing, buy and flip, buy and hold, mostly buy and hold, because we really love the passive income of rental properties and so forth. Meanwhile, while all that's going on, Bella, also being the business sense of our partnership, honey, you should get your real estate license. When we buy a home, it would be great if you could just, not just save money, but just have the intelligence and the knowledge of the markets and so forth, and trends and the tools. And yeah. Okay. I'll do that. Well, like a lot of husbands, I'm not quick to the uptake, in terms of action. And Bella kind of got to a point, and I need that sometimes. It's like, are you going to do this or not? And it's like, you're right. I should do this. So grateful, Russ, because real estate has been our quote unquote salvation in 2020. Because the wedding photography isn't happening. We've got a couple of small shoots, but that's not the bread and butter that we are accustomed to. So grateful to make that transition to real estate.
Well, that's amazing that we talked not that long ago about how real estate has really been, the word you use is salvation. And, that's one of our goals. As we wrap up this first segment, Brooke, here's what I'd like to do as we move into the second segment. I'd like to kind of, fast forward from where you were to where you started, which is where we're at right now. Get your real estate license right now. And then let's talk that from Bella. And then let's talk about what that's done for your life. When we come back on our show, Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And today my friends are Brooke and Bella Fritz. They're amazing humans, and they're with us at Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan, operating partner and designated broker of Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. Hey, I'm excited to say we are growing at an unprecedented rate. We're almost 70 real estate brokers and popping about 3 deals a day in some cases. It's really pretty fun. And the reason I wanted to do an ad today was about our people. The culture of Keller Williams is really simple this. We believe in an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. What does that mean? Well, although we're competitive, we all go out and try to get some similar listings. And with almost 70 people, you might think that that's a problem. But in reality, with an abundant mindset, we know that for us to win, you don't have to lose. With our creative marketing that is unbelievable, with our operating system Command, we're reaching literally hundreds of thousands of people instantly. So if you're interested in selling or buying with one of our agents, trust me, you won't be disappointed. Give us a call at our office, 509-888-0038, or email me direct at russ@frontlinechelan.com. If you're interested in getting real estate, this is Russ McClellan. I'm the operating partner at Keller Williams. We are unbelievably busy. You might have heard real estate's a pretty hot topic. We have people that are part-time agents that are simply referral agents. We have people that have full-time jobs and they're transitioning into making real estate a career. We have people that want to sell real estate when they retire from their job. You would be surprised what we can do for you. Give my friend Taylor Stimmel, our CEO, or myself, Russ McClellan, a call anytime, 509-888-0038.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And here's Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I want everybody to smile. You know, it's very difficult to be unhappy and smile at the same time. It's because your brain doesn't understand it. The chemicals in your brain, right? Serotonin, dopamine, that stuff's released when you put out the verbal word or facial expressions or body language. Believe it or not, it's a real deal. So here's a little tip if you're doing business. Get up. Don't sit down when you talk. You'd be amazed at the difference in what can happen in your voice and inflections and all that jazz. So what I'm doing right now is I'm talking a little bit of real estate with my friends Brooke and Bella Fritz. And it's exciting because Brooke and Bella, you in the last segment you talked about, you have been investors a long time. You love passive income, but I'm pretty sure that just didn't happen like, winning the lotto, right? Like it was a hard work, and through the .com, .gone era where you said you lost some cashola like everybody else in the world that at that time, all the way through the Great Recession of 2008, and then fast forward to 2020 here in the land of COVID. I'd love to hear how real estate, you used the word in the last segment, salvation. You also talked about mindset, how we all often, frankly, preach, for lack of a better word, but I kind of am proud of it, that we preach abundance, meaning we don't have, for us to win, other people don't have to lose, right? And that's why we've grown to almost 70 agents and climbing and have massive goals in the future. So, Brooke, how does it feel to be one of almost 70 agents at Keller Williams, and you've been with us just over a year? What do you mean by salvation?
Well, great question, Russ. I love people. I have a construction background. Bella's a visual creative. And all of these things over time have evolved into getting my license. It just made sense for me in my life. Hindsight, sure, I should have done it 7 to 10 years ago, but I did when I did, got my license. And I'll be honest with you, I was recommended by one of our wedding clients to really consider Keller Williams over any of the other branches. I had my choice. There's plenty of good brokerages out there, but I really respected my client, his philosophy, his work ethic, absolutely, as honest as they come, a producer, honest and ethical, and that means the world to Bella and I. And so that's when I came and interviewed with Taylor, and already knew some of the other brokers there, as you know, and that was a no-brainer. But one of the things that really caught my attention with KW is the training, the education, the tools like Command Database and so forth, and the online sessions and the teamwork. Yeah, thank you, Bella. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Russ. I came from a cutthroat race to the bottom, cheapest price wins. Even within the same office, we were competing with each other for sales and clients. Whereas for the first time in my adult life, it's still sales, but I am actually working in a cooperative environment with the listing broker or the buyer's broker, because we all have the same goal, to close. I find that refreshing and unique. And yes, we're doing our level best to provide the highest level of service for our clients and representing them. But we both know that. It's like, okay, so, let's meet in the middle. What do we need to do to get this to close? And I find that so invigorating and so refreshing and unique to be in a cooperative environment. I really don't know of any other industries that really are that way.
Yeah, well, let me ask you something. As you guys dove in to this as a couple, and you got your real estate license, and I agree with you 100%. We could play the woulda, coulda, shoulda game all day long, right? And Yogi Berra,
Right.
Famous coach, once upon a time said, predicting things is very, very difficult, especially about the future, right? And I always love that quote because to me, I often say the rear view mirror in your car is little and the front windshield's big for a reason. Right.
Yep.
Let's learn
That's
from the
right.
past, and let's have fun with it, and let's reflect on the past and focus on the positives and the things we've learned and the great times that we've had, because memories are cherished. And what Bella does is a good example of that. Like, snapshot in time, capturing emotion through photography. But, as we look forward, and you sat there and got your real estate license, can you describe, if it's possible, like the feeling that you had? If we're talking to somebody right now that's listening, that is struggling, that's maybe unemployed, right? Or I like to say, if you've been furloughed without your permission by your boss,
Right.
right? If that's
Right.
happened, because, there's going to be some tremendous casualties. You just can't lock down small businesses for as long as we have, no matter what you believe politically or the reasons why. It doesn't really matter, to the extent that I'm making a point that there are going to be casualties in business, and that is the trickle-down economic effect where, a restaurant goes out of business, well, the servers are now unemployed. And when you look around, and all of a sudden there's not a lot of options for people, because this is a world pandemic, not just a local issue. There's going to be some challenges to just go falling back to doing any job to make a little cash, like, bartending or working, odd jobs. It's just harder, right? So when you think about it, and you think about real estate a year ago compared to now, what were some of the apprehensions that maybe, or myths that you heard, or things that you could share with somebody thinking about maybe getting into real estate like you did? And now you've been in our firm just over a year. So compared to what you thought or somebody else might be thinking versus reality, can you describe that?
Sure. Well, the first step of that was finding a good online course and, start studying. And I hadn't studied like that since college. So that was a personal challenge and a time management pursuit. And that was invigorating in itself. It's like, man, I haven't studied like this, but to stimulate the brain is great. At the same time, you're also realizing, wow, there's a lot to learn here. And a lot of this is legal based. Am I getting in over my head? Well, you know what? There's plenty of people that are doing this, so go for it. The one of the myths that I think was a little bit kind of like, I don't know, it seems like everybody and their brother has their license. And so kind of like people with cell phones, they think they're a photographer because their friend said, oh, you took the best sunset I've ever seen from your iPhone or whatever, So I don't listen to those naysayers or myths, because this is personal. We're independent brokers by title and by our profession. So this is my franchise. I happen to be very fortunate to be under the KW umbrella, which is, a huge part of my success. But, I just had to focus on getting the license and, passing the course, and then learning as much as possible, as quickly as possible, because, with the COVID, with the wedding photography industry postponed until next year, hopefully, I needed to hit the ground running and take, the license was just a formality, if you will. The real learning comes once you sign up with a brokerage like Keller Williams. And so grateful for the team mentality, because you'll have 1,001 questions, and none of them are stupid. They're all valid.
Yeah,
So,
there's an infinite, right? There's an infinite number of scenarios, and we teach fundamentals, of course, but life experience,
absolutely.
and that's why, we often say fail fast, fail aggressively, fail forward, because failing forward just simply means you learn. And one thing, I've been in real estate 32 years, which is feels like 10 million hours. But when you talk about the 10,000 hour rule, when you develop mastery, what I've learned is mastery simply means that I've got to a point in real estate after 3 decades and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in sales in my career that I don't really know very much. You just kind of learn that I'm just kind of a speck, man. The world's an infinite place of infinite knowledge, and then you invert that, and that's part of the excitement, because you're not just punching a clock, doing your time.
Exactly.
And life's so precious. One of my biggest fears has always been that I'm going to have to do time, right? 9 to 5 on something I don't want to do. And then the next thing I know, I wake up and I'm 80 years old and full of regrets. And you know what? I don't want to be full of regrets. And that's what I love about, I said earlier in the first segment about you guys, your enthusiasm and your positivity is just, I'm so grateful for it, to be around you, right? I mean, and that's the key. Because you do influence other people, whether you guys know it or not. And this is just a year in, right? Not that we're so old. This is our second full calendar year, and we've gone to, I think, third in the marketplace and number one in agent count, and almost 100% above our first full calendar year. So we're profit sharing at a very, very high level now. It's kind of exciting. In fact, every 21st of the month, if you're helping grow our firm and those people are making some money, you get bonused. So kind of back to my question, like compared to when you started, maybe you could do this. What were some of the challenges that you expect? We got about a minute left in this segment, so maybe just briefly talk about some of the challenges, and then when we come back, we can talk about how we solve them.
You bet. Just your own personal mindset of fear, and that might be fear of success, just fear of reaching out to strangers, and time management. There were some challenges there because of trying to do side hustles to, pay for things and keep the lights on and stuff like that. But I think we are all kind of create our own biggest hurdles. And I want to encourage anyone that's considering getting the real estate license, absolutely go for it. I can't stress it enough. You think about how many agents there might be out there. That is actually completely irrelevant. There's only one you, and you're going to attract a clientele that you might have in your life for the rest of your life. We're actually getting repeat business, Russ, within a year.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
To get that. I feel so blessed. I mean, Bella and I are eternally grateful for every day, for one thing, and grounded in our faith. And we are just grateful in that attitude of gratitude. I think sounds like it's projecting and pay it forward. I don't know.
It's great, man. And when we come back, hey, you know what? I'm sure anybody can call you and you'll talk to them about this, right?
Absolutely.
Your number's 206-681-7377. When we come back, let's talk some more with Brooke and Bella Fritz about how real estate changed their lives to get them the life they want and deserve.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, home sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan, operating partner and designated broker of Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington. Hey, I'm excited to say we are growing at an unprecedented rate. We're almost 70 real estate brokers and popping about 3 deals a day in some cases. It's really pretty fun. And the reason I wanted to do an ad today was about our people. The culture of Keller Williams is really simple this. We believe in an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. What does that mean? Well, although we're competitive, we all go out and try to get some similar listings. And with almost 70 people, you might think that that's a problem. But in reality, with an abundant mindset, we know that for us to win, you don't have to lose. With our creative marketing that is unbelievable, with our operating system Command, we're reaching literally hundreds of thousands of people instantly. So if you're interested in selling or buying with one of our agents, trust me, you won't be disappointed. Give us a call at our office, 509-888-0038, or email me direct at russ@frontlinechelan.com. Hi, this is Russ McClellan, designated broker and operating partner of Keller Williams Realty NCW. We have almost 70 agents and growing rapidly. We're almost a legit company now with over 2.5 years experience. The good news is this: if you're thinking about changing your life, my goal and my mission to you is to help you transform the life that you deserve and that you want, using real estate as the vehicle to do that. What does that mean? Well, it means whatever you want it to mean. If you want to work part-time, I'll show you how to do it. If you want to work full-time, I'll show you how to do it. And I'm also willing to show and demonstrate our commitment to you and our conviction to our company and transparency by giving you any of the numbers of any of the 70 people that work at Keller Williams. We're a family, we care about each other, and we care about you. So if you want to change your life, you want to get into real estate and have some fun, let's get together and talk. 509-888-0038. Give me a call anytime. You can also call my cell phone at 509-470-2416.
You're tuned to Russ McClellan and Friends on the Real Estate Show Home Sweet Home. Let's get back to Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. Wow, another day in the land of COVID. We having fun yet? I don't think so. Man, I'll tell you what. Here's the good news. Adversity breeds clarity if you let it. That's the key. Adversity breeds clarity if you stop and reflect, take a big, deep breath, and start to think about the things that maybe you forgot to think about when you were going busy, busy, busy and running all over town and that is living in gratitude, being self-aware, caring about your friends, families, neighbors, you name it. And I've got two people that I love, Brooke and Bella Fritz, that are real estate brokers online with us. We've been talking for a couple segments. Brooke, I appreciate everything that you've been saying, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how did you get over this, I call it assassinating your limiting beliefs, because that's what you did. You just jumped in. I mean, you're like me. We're not spring chickens, right? We don't have 40, 50, 60 years left, but you just went for it. And a year later, you're making some money, man. I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Russ. Again, I've got well grounded in my faith. Bella and I, we work as a great team. She brings the feminine element to our businesses. And so we complement each other as opposed to tearing each other down. But I'll tell you, it has been such a blessing, financially, if you want to get straight to the commissions talk. But, prior to that, or a little bit in front of that to us, and I've kind of said this in some of our sales rallies, we're more than just a realtor, more than a broker. We're actually dealing with people's homes. And you look up the definition of home, that's one of the most important things in any culture anywhere in the world. Food, shelter, love, in any particular order. But shelter, that's your home. And so being an integral part of finding or selling those homes, we hold that sacred. That trust is one of the most highest levels of trust and highest levels of financial transactions in anyone's life. We don't take that for granted. And so you're right. At my age, kind of what we call in the golf industry, the back nine,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the runway to just mess around with this. I wanted to apply everything that I've learned in life, in business, and in business with the wedding photography business. How can I apply the best practices to real estate? And, so you definitely want the entrepreneurial mindset and realize, hey, it's straight commission. You don't work, you don't eat. You're right. And it's not by the hour, it's producing. So, our slogan is do whatever it takes, right? Doing calls on Sunday night. Well, Sundays should be set aside for family, and it typically is. But if it's a quick question, a text, a phone call to help the other broker get ready for Monday's, inspection or whatever the case may be, you do whatever it takes. It is a lifestyle, and it's a wonderful lifestyle because thanks to real estate, I'd mentioned it's been our salvation. We're now able to start climbing out of some of the debt that I acquired during the downtimes. And, homes are not a luxury. I mean, the second homes might be, but, everyone needs somewhere to live. And so it's a necessity. And so we love being a part of that necessity, helping either first home buyers, vets. I'm closing next month, a first home for a young couple relocating from out of state. He's transferring to JBLM. And so we're not just getting someone into a home. We're now part of a military family as well. I mean, I hope I'm able to project the gratitude and enthusiasm that each client, they're a family. They're first-time home buyers, upsizing, cross-sizing, downsizing, or investing in that vacation or second home for rental income or just the enjoyment of their life. Been there, done that, and so we can speak to that, And so we're just very encouraged to be in this industry for those reasons. Get to deal with families and their homes,
Yeah, what's funny about this business in general is that it does compound, Right. And you are right. It's a commission-based business. It's not getting paid just for putting in time, you know. And one challenge that people have when they come from what I call the employee background, which is most people, and the W-2 world, is that sometimes there's an assumption that if I just show up, whether I'm talking at the coffee pot with everybody back when we could do that, or, you know, just kind of going through the motions, I am somehow entitled to money. Okay, well, real estate is a production-oriented business. You are self-employed as an independent contractor under a platform of Keller Williams and our designated my designated broker's license. But at the end of the day, it gives you such great flexibility. So in your case, for example, if Bella had a photo shoot and you said you help her in a lot of the business operations end, but I'm sure that maybe you often help her at the weddings too. And so you can say, well, I'm going to jet between 9 and 2 on a Saturday, and I'm going to time block that, or 9 and 2, more importantly and more significantly, on a Tuesday, where if you were a W-2 employee and you had a side hustle, or you're trying to help a business partner and spouse, in your case, do their job or help them with their career, you wouldn't be able to, or you'd be fired, right?
That's right.
And
That's
so,
right.
and so flexibility is a huge issue. And I call it the rule of 168. Do you know what that is, Brooke? The rule of 168?
Refresh my memory.
Yeah, it's 24/7, 24 hours a day times 7 days a week. And so I often talk with people, including I just talked to my son-in-law on a hunting trip for 2 weeks. And as soon as we got back, he got his real estate license because, you know, I'm very proud of the fact that he's a stay-at-home dad for my grandson, GK. And my daughter's a doctor of audiology. Well, as I was talking to him, you know, in this land of COVID, you know, one single income, even though she's a doctor, it's still, you know, got those big student loans, got debt, got bills. And I said, well, what are you doing in time blocking your rule of 168? So I went through that, and all of a sudden we discovered through an audit that there's an hour here, an hour there, an hour here, not to take anything away from raising my grandson, because he's an amazing dad. Right. But he saw where he could help his family by maybe just being more intentional with his time. And he's now in that same class you took at rockwellinstitute.com. Right. So,
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
You know, so that was just kind of a cool thing that you guys have shared in enthusiasm. And before, just so I don't mind repeating it, your number, if people want to get a hold of Brooke and Bella, Brooke Fritz for real estate, his number is 206-681-7377. So one more time, 206-681-7377 is Brooke Fritz, Keller Williams broker, right here in our office in North Central Washington. And you can also email Brooke for your real estate questions or mindset questions, or if you're thinking about getting into the business, I'm sure Brooke would be happy to sit you down. He's a 1-year veteran at Keller Williams. You know, ask him the tough questions. If you've heard negative things about somebody in the old telegraph game, small town America, that's okay. That's okay. Ask him. You know, ask him anything. And you can email him at Brooke, BROOKE, Fritz, FRITZ @KW.com. All right. So I hope people reach out to you. And you know what I love about this? I tell people openly, you can ask any one of our almost 70 real estate brokers what they think about Keller Williams. I'll give you their cell numbers.
Right.
You call me, you tell me anybody you want to talk to, I'll give you their cell phone number. You ask them anything you want. That's called integrity. Do we always do things perfect, Brooke? Nope. But can you say that as a management team and, you know, as I'm kind of what they sometimes call the tip of the spear here as the DB and operating partner, my goal is to be constantly learning based, and we can all learn from each other. Would you say that's a fair statement?
Beyond fair. That's the glue that keeps us together and growing. The support that we see online when each one of us, when I say us, the realtors, gets a new listing, goes pending, closes a deal. I see hearts and likes and so forth instead of, again, this competitive jealousy or anything like that. We know how hard it is, how much work it takes, I should say, to get to that close. And it is a sweet victory because our goal, as you always emphasize, Russ, it needs to be a win-win on both sides. Buyers and sellers both need to feel like they're winning. What a great place to be a part of in the mix of that, to make sure that both parties feel like they're winning.
Well, I appreciate you. I also want to plug Bella's photography because it's pretty dang amazing. And it's been kind of a tough year with COVID. So, here we go. I'm going to give you her website. If you want to look at some amazing wedding photos on a sidebar here, bellafritzphotography.com. Right. And that's the other thing about real estate. It's a network, right? We've got about, a minute left for in this segment. It's going to be a quick minute, my producer says. Called half a minute. Anyway, Brooke, I appreciate you guys coming on. We are a God family business company. Not afraid to say that openly, and
That's right.
to each their own. God can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people, and we're not here to judge either way. But it is about integrity, honesty, ethics, hard work. Competition breeds excellence, but there is an abundance of work to be had. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for calling in. Have happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you for everything, Russ.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a great day. We'll be right back
You
with Home
too.
Sweet Home and Russ McClellan and Friends in just a few seconds. We're going to be talking to Michael Maher with Prime Lending.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true.
If you're interested in getting real estate, this is Russ McClellan. I'm the operating partner at Keller Williams. We are unbelievably busy. You might have heard real estate's a pretty hot topic. We have people that are part-time agents that are simply referral agents. We have people that have full-time jobs and they're transitioning into making real estate a career. We have people that want to sell real estate when they retire from their job. You would be surprised what we can do for you. Give my friend Taylor Stimmel, our CEO, or myself, Russ McClellan, a call anytime, 509-888-0038.
You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. And here's Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. And as always, in the fourth segment, I got Prime Lending and my partner, Michael Maher, who is helping literally people every day that are working with our almost 70 real estate brokers at Keller Williams. How you doing, Michael?
Good, Russ. Happy to be here. Happy to share some knowledge with all the people listening.
Yeah, you know what one of the biggest buzzwords right now is this opportunity that people don't even think is real, but it's very real. And that is a down payment assistance program, right? Up to 5%, if I'm understanding this right, and I think I do, that is zero interest and zero payments for the life of the loan and actually comes in as a second mortgage. And you guys have become very proficient at that. The reason I want you to talk about that, if you don't mind, is that we have so many people with rents rising almost monthly, it seems, in this interesting time of demand versus supply, meaning we have a lot more people wanting to move here than we have housing. And with mortgage rates being as low as they are right now, in some cases, you can actually buy a home with zero down as a first-time home buyer, and I want you to get into what that technically means and have maybe very close to your mortgage payment, in some cases even lower. So could you describe the down payment assistance program and what first-time buyers really means?
Yeah, definitely. So first-time home buyers, when it comes to a lender, are people who have not owned a home within the last 3 years. So if you sold a home, 3 years and 1 day ago, then you would technically be considered a first-time home buyer. So what ultimately this down payment assistance program allows people to take advantage of, it's basically a bond, or it's a interest-free loan for 30 years, and there is no small print on that. It is exactly what I'm saying. It's interest-free, no payments, nothing's stacking on to that particular second loan over the course of the 30 years. If you borrowed $10,000 in 30 years, you would owe $10,000. So it is a zero down loan in the sense that borrowers are not needing to come in with any money up front as far as for the down payment. However, the only time that needs to be paid back is if they sell the home, they pay the home off, or they refinance it. If they refinance it, all that's wrapped up into the new loan. If they sell it, that comes out of their proceeds. And then if they turn around and pay the home off in a lump sum, then they would need to either pay that off in a lump sum or talk to the servicer on how that would need to be handled. Very rarely does someone take this loan to 30 years, but what it does allow them to do is get in right now when rates are low and when things are still appreciating quite rapidly, and they can take advantage of that. And then if and when they want to, they can go and refinance and get into something a little bit more permanent. But with where rates are at right now, it gives people this amazing opportunity to either keep some of that money that they have in the bank for projects, furniture, upgrades to the home, and then, turn around and borrow that down payment at no fees. And then that allows them, just a lot more flexibility in that.
Yeah, when you think about the quantification of that, a $350,000 mortgage, you would get up to $17,500 in assistance to apply towards your down payment, and then it just gets tacked onto the back of the loan with no interest and no payments. And because of that, all of a sudden, if we structure the deal right, where we perhaps ask the seller, which if I'm saying it right, we can ask the seller to pay those closing costs of, 2-3%. So it's literally a true zero down at closing, and bam, you got your new house.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had a lot of people take advantage of this program recently. The only thing that's typically required is there is an income limit. It's just over $145,000 that you have to make under. So it's basically $145,000 or under that you have to make annually as a household. And you just have to take an online class. But once you check those two boxes, you're technically qualified for the program, and then you can move forward with trying to find a home. But what I often find is people they're out looking around, and they're trying to save up. Maybe they have $5,000 saved away in an account, and then all of a sudden the home pops up that they have to have, but they just don't have those funds available, and they don't have a gift that they can get from a family member, and it's just money's tight. And this program really kind of comes in and saves the day and allows them to take advantage of that, and then they can continue saving the money for other projects and other things. So it's been really popular with people who may have not been expecting to buy a home, and then all of a sudden they're finding one, they realize they qualify, and it gives them an opportunity that they otherwise maybe wouldn't have had.
Yeah, and in this market, it's a 30-year fixed. And the beautiful thing about that is a couple things. One, there's some tax advantages. You need to call your tax professional. I'm not an accountant. But you do get an interest deduction, at least for now, as a mortgage. But more importantly, you can count on that certainty of a monthly payment for the most part. I mean, your insurance and your taxes might fluctuate, but your principal and interest payment associated with your mortgage would stay constant for 30 years. Not that you stay in the house for that long, but you're building equity versus renting, which is perfectly fine in a lot of places for a lot of reasons. There's nothing wrong with that. However, what does a landlord want to do if the landlord can? Typically, they're not going to go backwards in rent, right? Your rent's going to continue to rise each and every year with inflation and supply and demand. What are the market conditions? Well, in our area, there's a lot of people that are moving to the area for the first time because they can now work where they play, meaning work from home and get paid the same amount of money they used to have to live in a city to make. So all of a sudden, there's massive pressure. And this kind of program, even though it may have not been on your radar screen, what it leads me to do, and I want you to verify that I'm telling everyone the truth. If you are willing to map out a plan and a strategy for anybody for free, is that right, Michael?
Oh, definitely. Yep. And whether you're ready now and this is a program you want to take advantage of, or maybe a different program fits you, 100%, absolutely. Every consultation that I have with a client is first and foremost private. It's not shared with anybody, family, friends, nothing. And it's also free so that you can get the correct information and advice that you're looking for. And we can map out a plan of action and get them, get the ball rolling so that at least they have an idea of what they need to do if they're not ready. And if they are ready, then great, let's find which program works best for them.
Yeah, in this time of uncertainty in so many areas, the one thing that you can count on is that it's free to develop a plan, right? And they often say, well, if I have a goal of owning a home, but I take no action, the old saying is a goal without action is simply a dream that never really gets realized, right? And there's no reason for that. Take action, and I'm going to give you the number, all right? So get a pen. I'm going to give you Michael's number. All the listeners out there that are curious, if I wanted to qualify, how much would I qualify for? What would my mortgage payment be? And what would be the course of action with Prime Lending to get me my goal turned into reality, not a dream of owning a home? Because you can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it right now. Here's the number, 425-760 425-760-8824. Michael, what's funny is we talk a lot about enabling people to realize their dreams of home ownership and the positive feelings that come with that. Is it true that you've helped people that their spouse or significant other or brothers or sister or parents said, there's no way you can own a home, but they had the courage to call you and you changed that? Is that a true statement?
Yeah, it happens a lot more often than you think. And I'm not ever, bad-mouthing larger institutions, but with prime lending, we really pride ourselves on being creative and thinking outside the box. And we're not, scared of things that aren't cookie cutters. So if you have a bankruptcy or if you're in a financial situation, going through a divorce, job change, location change, anything, we've most likely dealt with it. And we figured out a solution and moved forward. If the home needs renovation, we offer renovation loans, which we can get into on another time. But when it comes to all of these creative options, we can definitely figure out the best plan of action. And we will never turn someone down. We will just say what you need to do and what you need to accomplish to get into, to meet the home ownership goal that they have. So it's always a plan of action that someone will receive no matter what.
One of the limiting beliefs that I hear a lot in my 30-plus year career is that I don't want Michael Maher or anybody to pull my credit because it'll ruin my credit. Is that true?
Nope, absolutely not. So people need to be very careful about the Credit Karmas and the other credit monitoring services. They're great for kind of getting a pulse on what your credit is doing, but it's not your true FICO score. So when you see that someone, whether it be a mortgage company, run your credit and it says, oh, your points dropped by 6 points or something like that. It's not true. Your FICO score didn't drop. It's just showing it's giving you a gauge on what may have happened if you continue to have those actions done. But I often have had people come in with very low credit scores, and over the course of a few months, I had them do a few things, and I pulled their credit, 2 to 4 times over the course of those months, and I've seen 100-point increases. So it's all in how it's structured. And if you're working with someone who knows what they're doing and has a plan of action, then you don't have to worry about your credit dropping at all.
Yeah, and we have about 30 seconds left, and so I sure appreciate that information because I know it's true. I know it's heartfelt. Your word is your bond. You do what you say you're going to do, and believe me, that's a good thing in this business in today's world. But don't go out and pull credit with credit cards and car loans. Don't go crazy. But we're talking about mortgage pulling, and checking your credit for a mortgage. That's a different scenario because there is some truth to the opposite. But hey, thanks a lot, Michael. We're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Have a fantastic holiday. Merry Christmas, as they say, and let's have some fun and finish out the year strong. Thanks for calling in, Mike.
It's a bright new day, just came my way. I bought a new home, yeah, home, sweet home. Oh, home, sweet home. Keller Williams, I love my dream home. Home, sweet